The DePaul Blue Demons, and your
St. John's University.
It is a chilly senior night 2019 as we come to you from Belson Stadium in Queens. Tonight on the Big East Digital Network, it's men's soccer. As the number 8 St. John's Red Storm at 12-2-1, they play host to the 5-7-3 DePaul Blue Demons. Let's have a look at the Big East standings. Winner earlier today is Georgetown, shutting out Villanova, so they have clinched another Big East regular season crown and the number 1 seed. St. John's with 16 points. They have, with a win tonight, a chance to clinch the 2 seed and get the bye straight into the Big East tournament semifinals. DePaul with 6 points, likely both of their remaining pair of matches to qualify for the 6-team Big East tournaments. And with that, good evening and welcome to our coverage tonight. I'm Ralph Bednarczyk. For St. John's, things are even bigger picture than the Big East tournament implications. Earlier this week, the NCAA Tournament Selection Committee revealed their projected top 16 teams 2 weeks ahead of the NCAA tournament, and St. John's was number 7 there. Their RPI is number 3. The top 4 seeds in the nation, they have a chance to host all the way through the NCAA quarterfinals, being a win away from the College Cup. For DePaul, they hope history might repeat itself. In their last 3 visits here to Queens, they have a win and 2 ties. They're going to hope for the 3 points this evening. And of course, how apropos for senior night, we focus on a St. John's senior to start. Senior left midfielder Matt Forster has been a 3-year starter in the program, coming from England after an injury-plagued freshman year. He's been a starter ever since, especially acclimating 25 newcomers ahead of last year's team, where he starred, having 6 goals, 4 assists. This year limited to 1-1, missing 3 games due to an ankle, but his services with the left foot from the end line are particularly dangerous every time he goes up and down the flank. And for the Blue Demons, they're fighting for their Big East tournament lives, playing out of the unique 3-5-2 alignment because senior center back Max De Bruyne is there. He allows them to play this system. A 4-year starter at the position. He's had his best offensive year with 3 goals and 3 assists. Head coach Mark Plotkin loves his passing range, his grit, and his courage to block shots from everywhere and give up his body. He might be, according to Plotkin, the best center back in the conference and on his way to first team All Big East honors. So it's DePaul looking for more success in New York. St. John's hoping to send out their seniors with a win with an eye towards a high NCAA tournament seed. DePaul and St. John's are coming up next on the Big East Digital Network, presented by SoFi.
St. John's University is New York, through and through. While our roots may be here in the city, our Catholic and Vincentian influence is felt around the globe. Diverse, determined, and dedicated, our students graduate career-ready and primed to take on the challenges of tomorrow. We are New York's team. We are St. John's.
Here, we do what others don't.
Dream what others won't, driven to leap forward, determined to always give back.
Here, we work where giants have played, where the connection of work and ethic is made.
A diverse community possessed with a passion
To know and grow and go and show the world we are prepared to change it. Here, we ask what must be done, for in doing we learn and earn success.
and you can get there from here.
DePaul University. Here, we do.
It's time to fuel your ambitions by taking charge of your student debt. At SoFi, we've helped over 250,000 people refinance their student loans, saving thousands of dollars. Now you can pay off your student loans faster and reach your goals sooner. See how much you can save in just 2 minutes at SoFi.com/save.
You're not going to want to miss this.
And welcome back to Queens. St. John's on the white on white as we look at Dr. Dave Mazur's starting lineup tonight. Out of a 4-4-2, Jared Julo will be the right back with Bustamante outside. Skage Simonson, terrific sophomore center midfielder. Tani Oluwaseyi will start at forward tonight with Einar Lai. Jan Hoffelner will be the starting goalie. St. John's is splitting starters this season. And for DePaul, they play out of the unique 3-5-2, but at times it's going to look more like a 3-6-1. And you look at for the Blue Demons, Max De Bruyne will be their true center back. Braden Kalapari be on the left. Danny Iskra will be on the right. Center attacking mids, Jacob Cito, Jake Feuderer. Yusuf Ramadan will be the lone striker. Matt Brickman, Michael Anderson, young holding mids, underclassmen. And the left and right mids, Sasha Labovich and Timmy Iskra for second-year coach Mark Plotkin. As we are underway, the Blue Demons, blue on blue with the red trim. John McCloskey doing the honors tonight with the temperatures in the mid-40s as this one begins. St. John's plays it out wide for Matt Forster. They'll have to toss in, of course, in goal, Drew Nelly for DePaul, transfer from Indiana following the 2017 season. He has played every minute the last 2 years. 59 saves this year, 6 shutouts for the product from St. Louis. This is a ball played across, and Nelly is able to jump on it. Fits the prototype, 6'5", redshirt junior, coming in off of 2 saves against Xavier. He's had some good games this season. 8 saves at Seton Hall is his season high. And this year, his confidence, Mark Plotkin points to, continues to grow and has been reading the game better with his experience off of last year. Medical school is next for Drew Nelly. De Bruyne. And Nelly again. Nelly spent 2 years in Indiana, did not play at all after redshirting in 2016, and then was the backup keeper in 2017. Rafael Bustamante for St. John's. And this is a DePaul team that, as Mark Plotkin talked about, we have gotten very comfortable at putting 9 or 10 players behind the ball. That's turned into their style of play this year, as DePaul was dealt 2 significant injuries this year. As he called 3 of their best attacking players are down with injury, 2 for the season. One that was questionable is Zach El Shafai, senior forward from Ottawa, Canada. 2 goals and an assist. He was questionable with an ankle. He is on the trip, but is not expected to play. So with El Shafai being out, and then DePaul losing Isaac Frint, who was also a transfer from Indiana. He has been out since September 17th with a torn PCL, an attacking outside midfielder. And then David Gripman tore his ACL, a freshman in his 4th game, September 9th against Drake. He had 2 goals against Northern Illinois, and he's going to pick up a red shirt. So the Blue Demons, their style of play has been to defend and look for counters and then score off of set pieces, as Nelly has the handle. And DePaul's been limited to 15 goals this year, as Nelly sends it down. But DePaul, having said that and played that style, they've been able to challenge top teams. October 1st against Notre Dame, lost 1-0, and it took a last-second restart for Notre Dame to win off of a handball top of the box with 15 seconds left. And Notre Dame buried a free kick with 8 seconds remaining. They were outshot 18-2, holding chances to the perimeter. And then DePaul got points against conference regular season champion Georgetown. This is a ball laid into the feet of Hoffelner. DePaul got a scoreless tie against the Hoyas October 4th, but they were outshot 24-2. And their lone Big East win October 19th, 2-0 against Providence at home. Brandon Knapp, who gets the start tonight, along with Matt Chandler, the 2 center backs. So you will see Knapp flex into also a 3-5-2 look for St. John's. So while DePaul will call it a 3-5-2, it'll look more 3-6-1. St. John's will call it 4-4-2, and it'll look more 3-5-2. Knapp to push forward, a sophomore from Abington, Maryland. And a ball as he was looking for Brandon Duarte, the starting right midfielder tonight. St. John's number 3 in the RPI, number 7 in the selection committee's seeding in their first reveal. A win gives them their first 6-win Big East number since 2009. And it's going to be their 3rd straight Big East tournament after missing it the previous 5 years in a row. Bustamante. Ball for Tani Olawashe, who leads the conference in goals with 9. And space outside for DePaul, Jacob Cito. And Cito, who laid it ahead, and St. John's will build through the back again. So Jan Hoffelner has played first halves every game, a transfer from Presbyterian off of last year. He's from Frankfurt, Germany.
Take space.
Started now all 16 games, but only 1 full game played against Butler, as St. John's coach Dave Mazur, for the first time in his illustrious 29-year career, this is the first season that he has truly split goalies over the course of a year. And we're scheduled to see 6'6" redshirt freshman Luka Gavron, or rather Luka Gavrin will play the second half tonight. Ashrafi for St. John's. Ball out wide, Forster. Numbers to the box. Plays it in front. And this one had to be played away by De Bruyne, and it'll be an early corner for St. John's. So again, Matt Forster has been doing that his entire career. Family is in from Bedford, England for this senior night.
St. John's corner kick.
And De Bruyne had to be clean on that touch with that penetrating ball. Forster again on the corner, so this will be an outswinger. Forster a ball into the 6, and as it faded away, we'll have a foul against St. John's. And that'll be Matt Chandler, big 6'6", 200-pound center back for St. John's. And De Bruyne already shaken up. Well, Max, a 6'5" senior center back from the Netherlands. He's going to graduate in December. He and his dad, as he described, sent out about 100 emails to Division I colleges. Got about 15 replies. 2 offers were made that his family could afford. One was DePaul, the other was Wisconsin. Read about Chicago, fell in love with the city, and he has been an anchor in this DePaul program. And De Bruyne this year, 3 goals, 3 assists. Hopes he can extend his career. De Bruyne. And in the 3-5-2, as Mark Plotkin described, it allows De Bruyne to get a little bit more forward. As he's going to take this restart now following the St. John's foul. They're going to advance the ball a little closer to midfield. And DePaul has played this 100% of the time this year. And they wanted to find a way to get freshman Danny Iskra on the field. He's the starting right back. Kalapari, the left back, headed that ball to the sideline. Oluwaseyi. Kalapari dispossesses. Oluwaseyi, a sophomore. Native Canadian. Room out wide, Duarte. Over the head of Forster. Second ball, Skage Simonsen. Could not control. And DePaul with possession, holding mid, Matthew Brickman. Last year, DePaul and St. John's also met here at Belson Stadium in what ended up being a schedule quirk with the 10-team Big East. It had been where you were alternating home and road each year, and somehow it worked out this way. Last year, DePaul had a very brief 2-1 lead before St. John's in the second half in the 81st minute scored 21 seconds, getting a goal from Skage Simonsen, and the game ended up in a 2-2 tie. Jared Julo, a goal 2 weeks ago against Villanova, the first of his season and career. Bustamante, the takeaway. Simonsen, strong turn. And Skage Simonsen. And the sophomore will wait for some numbers and switch the ball beautifully here. Duarte. Ashrafi. Einar Lai. Slow on the pass. Jake Feuderer, center attacking mid for DePaul. The takeaway. The Blue Demons play through Ramadan, their center forward, and space outside for Jacob Cito to move. Ball into some space for Ramadan. At the edge of the 18, Yusuf Ramadan looking to leave it, but then that's well read by Attila Ashrafi, a freshman from Cologne, Germany. And a ball over the top for Einar Lai. Swooping in there was Braden Kalapari. Going to be a toss coming for St. John's. DePaul has the lone shot, and that one's a weak one from outside the 18. St. John's with Jared Julo, a freshman from Stamford, Connecticut. Originally verbally committed to Pitt, a Red Bulls Academy player that St. John's was able to keep home. Spent 5 years with the New York Red Bulls Academy, including their captain last summer and springtime, as now we get a call against St. John's. And Julo has found a way to consistently start in this back half of the season, especially in the St. John's team that brought back so many players. Remember, they had 25 newcomers last year, so it was going to be difficult for newcomers this year to jump in, but Julo, Ashrafi, and Einar Lai have been able to do that. Iskra brings the ball down. Simonson, though, as it's played back through Bustamante. Brandon Knapp. There is Einar Lai. 2 goals against Villanova a couple of weeks ago. And Einar has his family in New York from Bergen, Norway, to visit him in the U.S. that are watching tonight. Bustamante. Although Washayi met there by De Bruyne, who wins the head ball. Second ball won by DePaul. Bustamante back in. Could not be stopped by the freshman holding mid, Anderson. Lie to the feet of Simonson. And De Bruyne is there as he presses high on Oluwaseyi. St. John's number 8 in the country. Their last home game, last Wednesday, October 23rd, they lost a showdown against preseason league favorite Georgetown. And the Hoyas, in the aforementioned NCAA tournament selection committee reveal, it was Georgetown as the number 1 seed. The top-ranked team, and at 14-1-1. The Hoyas now unbeaten in their last 9, and they have not given up a goal in the month of October and now November. Just 5 goals allowed all season by the Hoyas, and while the Hoyas are number 1 in the RPI, St. John's is number 3. And asking Coach Dave Mazur of St. John's his takeaways from that 3-0 loss, and hopes that his team will handle the way Georgetown pressed St. John's hard upfield better should the 2 teams meet in the Big East tournament. And just too many mistakes, and the kind of mistakes that are magnified when you take on a team that is so skilled, full of future MLS draft choices and pros for the next 2 drafts up and down their lineup. Lai for Ashrafi. Bustamante jumps into the picture. Bustamante, a ball into the box. And the head ball was won by the Hoyas, Timmy Iskra. Anderson sent it forward and blasted further by Danny Iskra. Timmy's a junior, his younger brother Danny a freshman. Duarte. He's looking for Lai, and again well defended by DePaul. So in that picture, as Georgetown came away with a 3-0 win over St. John's, the Red Storm have still only allowed 9 goals this season. They have 9 shutouts. And to do that here at Belson Stadium gives you a quality and a sense of the quality that the Hoyas are. Many coaches have said that Brian Weiss's team is an NCAA championship favorite. Even Sasho Sarovsky of Maryland, as the Hoyas won at Maryland this year. So for DePaul to come away with a scoreless tie, perhaps some fortune in being outshot 24-2, but Coach Mark Plotkin was happy with, they had some good attacking chances, just didn't get shots off that counted in the stats. Oluwaseyi then puts the ball towards goal, and Nelly has no problem with it. Well, DePaul's game plan today is, Mark Plotkin felt, is to limit transition chances for St. John's because of how well the Johnnies counter, and that's directly squarely on the guy you just saw, Tani Oluwaseyi. And Plotkin would love to make the Red Storm go the full 120 yards, like right here through Hafelner. Simonson.
Take space now.
And then for the Blue Demons, they've been a pretty good countering team themselves because of all the defense they've had to play this year. Duarte, service in, that's off the body of a Blue Demon, and it will be the Red Storm's second corner. And then any restarts for DePaul, they've had the attitude that they have to make those count. And that's how DePaul has found a way to get some points at 1-3-3 in the Big East. Forster, in-swinger coming. And a DePaul goal kick. DePaul brought back 10 of 11 starters last year, but it's gone a little differently. Only graduated Harry Hilling, who was an effective midfielder last year with a goal and 6 assists. But then the pair of injuries occurring, playing without Zach El Shafai recently. So they've had to revamp everything. But it's turned into another year for the Blue Demons where they've knocked on the door towards getting themselves back to the Big East tournament. Fell short each of the last 2 years. Lai got a good beat on this ball, and he'll get to it ahead of Kalapari. Lai down the middle, looked for Ashrafi. Good ball sent in by Einar Lai. Kalapari, this time St. John's, their usual pressure. And they'll force the turnover as Matthew Brickman had nowhere to go with it. Bustamante. Shots are one apiece. Simonson. Connection with Lai. Duarte, again, more numbers in the box. Penetrating ball, won by De Bruyne. So again, Max De Bruyne has been such a stalwart there in the back line for the Blue Demons. Second ball in by Knapp. And this ball rescued from a corner by Timmy Iskra. Deep throw for St. John's. And Mark Plotkin has said about his team this year, their organization defensively and being super compact. That's been their strength. And in a description that I haven't heard often, but he knows that opponents are going to have the ball more than we do, but this group is okay with that. They've shown that they can play without the ball for a large percentage of the time. They're okay playing a lot of defense. They've bought into that with attitude, and then knowing that they have to be opportunistic on any counter or restarts. So they're not going to get too frazzled or distracted, as there's Mark Plotkin in year 2. DePaul 2010 graduate. He was part of a DePaul team that came here on senior night in 2007 and captured a win for the Blue Demons. And one of his college teammates, Eric Reichman, who is a native of Hicksville on Long Island, who went to DePaul. He and Reichman have been longtime friends. They were groomsmen in each other's weddings, and Reichman is here watching the Blue Demons. And Plotkin remembers that we shocked some people winning in Belson Stadium in 2007. That was 2-0. St. John's having one of their great goaltenders of all time, Jason Landers, on the team. And remarked back to that and says that we've had a little bit of magic here. DePaul overall at Belson Stadium is 1-4-2. ties last year in 2014. And Plotkin as a player was 2-2-1 against the Red Storm. And some more of the DePaul glory days under his coach, Craig Blazer. Jacob Cito. Anderson. Now Danny Iskra. Chandler, and with good composure. And back to Jan Haffelner. As DePaul will advance it further, and these moments for the Blue Demons that are critical anytime they have the ball and are not defending. They come in having lost 2 in a row, but they've put together 6 shutouts. Oluwaseyi makes a good turn. Tani Oluwaseyi, the Big East leading scorer. And trying to send down Forster. And well defended again by DeBronia. Cito. And Jacob Cito trying to get himself more involved. Skage Simonsen there, one of the Big East best midfielders, sophomore from Norway. Last year's Big East Rookie of the Year. He and Einar Lai now playing in line with each other. He and Einar had known of one another growing up in Norway. And that was part of the recruiting process for Lai. As St. John's has added a good newcomer in the sophomore class, Lai with 4 goals and 4 assists. Bustamante. That's a quality ball, but it is offsides.
St. John's offside on the play. Fancy St. John's volleyball team returns to action on Friday, November 8th, when the Red Storm takes on Big East opponent Xavier at 7 p.m. at Corner Center Arena.
Earlier today, Providence came back from behind on Xavier and picked up a 2-1 win as the Friars got 2 goals in the last 10 minutes after trailing 1-0. So the Friars at the moment have 15 points. So they are right behind St. John's, who has 16. And Providence is going to host St. John's later this week for their senior night. So the significance of this one you're watching was just increased. That game will be on Wednesday night in Friartown. And should St. John's drop this one or only get a tie, that would be a winner-take-all game for the 2 seed and the automatic bye into the semifinals. The winner will be able to bypass playing a quarter. So there's real significance added to this one just in the last 20 minutes. So the Friars with the big win, coming back from behind on Xavier. Bustamante for Simonsen. Ashrafi, the St. John's coaching staff was wondering about the score just during warm-ups, but I'm not even sure that they heard it as they were going through their senior night festivities. That came down or went final, I think, at about 6:50, so right during all the senior day festivities. Knapp. Lai, good ball again, Duarte. And the sliding breakup will lead to another St. John's corner. So it'll be their 3rd of the night. So far, DePaul has defended the first 2 well. Matt Forster has taken both services.
Taken by Matt Forster.
Well, Mark Plotkin of DePaul said, "We're preparing and treating this game like a championship game." And thinks his team believes off of their experience last year of being able to get goals in Belson. This is a ball punched along at the 6. Never got through. Bustamante wins the next ball. Floats one in. And Nelly, comfortably on the ball, will handle it. And Rafael Bustamante, another quality ball. And among the most improved players in the Red Storm program. There's Rafael, a junior from nearby Corona, New York. Manhattan Hunter Science High School. And a smaller player that helped lead Martin Luther King Junior High School, where he played high school soccer, to the PSAL championship and won a PSAL public school championship right here in high school at Belson Stadium. Let's have a look into the corner. And meanwhile, St. John's, this is Duarte, as Duarte punched that one along. Brandon Duarte had a good opportunity to play it back to the middle and did not get a clean touch. Knapp, Oluwaseyi trying to hold it up. And for Oluwaseyi, and frustrated perhaps with some of the contact. And for Tani Oluwaseyi, this is just his 4th start of the season. And he and De Brogna coming together, and Oluwaseyi again, I think, asking for a call as De Brogna made the contact. Tani has been super efficient. 9 goals, 3 assists, 5 game-winning goals. He's 2nd in the country in game winners, leads the conference in goals, and is the most goals by a Johnny since the great Ryan Soroka had 9 goals in 2006 on a team that won the Big East. For Oluwaseyi, he'd been primarily coming in off the bench. He had a preseason hip injury, so he was working his way to playing 70 or so minutes as a starting forward. But he had consistently through the month of September, early October, been coming in off the bench and providing St. John's with a change of pace and an infusion of energy and scoring goals that way. For Oluwaseyi, 7 of his 9 goals remarkably have come after halftime. Julon. Good ball played in. Second ball, Simonson. Played away by Anderson. Ashrafi able to win the next one. Simonson checks back and got it from Bustamante. Knapp into your screen. Out wide, Duarte. Duarte again, another service. Won by Calipari. And then Julo could not quite settle it at his feet. Shots remain at 1-1, and the Red Storm commanding possession, but DePaul has been bend but not break this entire season. And then opportunistic enough where they have given themselves a chance to qualify for the Big East tournament, but they likely need to win each of their last 2. Forster. Lai, beautiful bring down. Ashrafi. Then he tried to thread the needle with the ball for Duarte.
Man slow, man slow, man slow.
And the Red Storm this year, as they've gone, so has Tani Oluwaseyi. St. John's has scored 31 goals. That's 2nd in the Big East. But 24 of those 31 goals have come after halftime. And that's a lot of Oluwaseyi and also senior Nico Petridis that have changed tempos and infused life to games. Now, unfortunately, St. John's will not have Nico Petridis tonight. He had not been playing due to an injury suffered against Creighton, and then Petridis picked up a red card while on the bench in the Red Storm's last game against Seton Hall. And Petridis, 4 goals and 4 assists the Red Storm's second leading scorer. So as Petridis continues to be out, and there is Nico Petridis, who's also celebrating Senior Day today, so he's in the stands for this one watching. No rule against that, but as I said, he picked up a red card against Seton Hall in a game that was littered with cards. St. John's and Seton Hall had a total of 11 yellow cards, given 6 against Seton Hall. As DePaul commits a foul, and it'll be the Red Storm's best restart. But as Dave Mazur told me, that role now of that energy bench guy belongs to Drew Rosen, a sophomore from the city that played through the Met Oval Academy. And Rosen is going to see his minutes increase. Here's Bustamante. Ball carries through right to Nelly. It was volleyed once, and there was a chance for a second ball, as that is Matt Chandler that is shaken up for St. John's.
Official timeout.
And a stoppage as Chandler appears to be favoring his back. Let's get a good look here.
Baby Chan!
We see the first flick on, and just the way Chandler, who did appear to get a touch on that ball coming through, and lands awkwardly on his back. So Chandler remains in. He's a first-year starter every game this season from Toronto. So Chandler's going to remain in. St. John's has had good success recruiting Canada in recent years. This is a ball taken away to the feet of Anderson. Anderson looked to slip through his outside midfielder. That was Cito, who could not get there.
St. John's substitution.
And Chandler still very much perhaps favoring that back issue he had. It's the point of the year where injuries accumulate, and our center referee, John McCloskey, talking to Jan Hoffelner right now, but I think he's going to take a quick look at Chandler. But especially in the cold weather, this is as much want to and determination that it is about skill. Fortunately, very little wind tonight, as now Chandler goes over the back on a Blue Demon, and he may be getting a card here. So that was Jack Richards, who just came in replacing Sasha Labovich at left midfield. And no card issued to Chandler. So each team is making a sub. And DePaul here with Braden Calipari in the service. And Hoffelner is able to knock it down. Distributes to Duarte. And the Red Storm looking to counter Oluwaseyi. There's the fine break up there. Had to be clean. Danny Iskra was able to be there immediately on the ball to the feet of Oluwaseyi. And Nelly restores order. And Oluwaseyi, such long strides. And he's also shown the ability to draw fouls that way. But all the credit goes to Danny Iskra, a freshman from Northbrook, Illinois, that started now all 16 games of his career. Mark Plotkin says that loves his competitiveness, his fearlessness. And like his brother Timmy, coming up through Sockers FC, he was their center back as they reached the national semifinals. And older brother Timmy, of course, very much involved in the recruiting process. Helped seal the deal for the Blue Demons. And And DePaul with another opportunity here, and they'll get a deep throw off the sideline. So in these limited amount of opportunities DePaul projects to get, they have to make these matter. De Bruyne was the target for the flick on, and he never got it.
Let's go, Drew!
St. John's substitution, now in the action for 11. Drew Rosen, replacing number 15.
So Haffelner will have the goal kick. Dave Mazur will make his first sub as Drew Rosen had been patiently waiting at the table. There is Drew. So now the energy guy for the Red Storm, at least until St. John's can get Nico Petridis back.
Thank you to all the youth teams that supported St. John's men's soccer during the 2019
And Matt Forster will exit. Richards able to knock it down for Cito. Ashrafi able to win it to Oluwaseyi. Anderson. And he's been the holding mid, Michael Anderson of Winfield, Indiana. Coming up through the Indiana Fire Academy. Simonson. Oluwaseyi settles it. He's inside, and he tucks it in! Tani Oluwaseyi again. 10 goals in his sophomore year. Settles it, and then drills it from tight quarters. 1-0 St. John's. And for Tani, that is now 10 goals. That's the first Johnny to reach double figures since Simone Solino, who did it back in 2003. Skage Simonson will collect the assist. No chance there for Nelly as Oluwaseyi rockets it. So just the third first half goal of the season for Tani. And for Oluwaseyi, that's his fifth assist
on an assist by number 8, Skage Simonson.
From Simonson on an Oluwaseyi goal out of the 6 that Simonson has. Just been a remarkable connection. And the left back there, Braden Kalapari, caught in no man's land once that ball was allowed to bounce. So the goal comes in the 36th minute for St. John's as they pursue locking up the 2 seed for the upcoming Big East tournament. Simonson powers his way through. He's in deep, and that one may have been rocketed off the near post. Follow-up comes by Julo, and it's blocked by Anderson, and St. John's buzzing for a second. And the way that ball caromed, it appeared like Nelly perhaps got a little piece of it, but much more of the near post. And Simonson nearly struck. Here comes another St. John's corner. And that one headed going the other way by Knapp, and he went up unmarked. So St. John's has broken through, and they lead the Blue Demons 1-0. Yeah, what a good ball served across there. And here is the quandary for DePaul coach Mark Plotkin, facing a must-win scenario with 6 points. And when you look at the Big East standings, ideally DePaul has to get somewhere in the vicinity of 4 points. 10 points is the reasonable number to expect that you need at the minimum, as there is Haffelner able to sneer that ball.
Drew, get high. Yo, tell Tanya slide.
For 5th, 6th, and 7th place in the Big East, Xavier, Creighton, and Marquette had 9 points. DePaul with 6, Seton Hall in front of them with 7. So realistically, at the minimum 10 points, you figure, can get DePaul at least in a position where they can qualify. So they need a win and a tie somewhere. And they may need to figure out a way how to open things up. As Heroes Oluwaseyi, the return from Lai. But even those 4 points to get to 10 may not even be enough for DePaul. They may have to get 2 wins. As St. John's goes off sides and Jared Julo upset. And then for Dave Mazur of St. John's, if the Red Storm would close out DePaul tonight, that would make things interesting ahead of Wednesday's game against Providence, because then in theory St. John's would have the 2 seed. There's Coach Mazur in year number 29, 3-time Big East Coach of the Year, 1996 national champion. That for Dave Mazur, along with being able to get the bye and not have to play the quarterfinal, he could elect to rest a number of his starters in that regular season finale in Friartown. Bustamante. But of course, resting your starters ahead of the Big East tournament. But St. John's has even bigger things that they're playing for, as I touched on that potential opportunity to be a top 4 NCAA tournament seed, which would be hosting a pair of games, including a quarterfinal, and being a win away from reaching the College Cup and having a chance to do it at Belson Stadium. Here is Rosen. Drew Rosen trying to get wide on Calipari. He will. And Rosen gets St. John's their 5th corner of this opening half. So 41st minute here. And St. John's trying to force their way into a second goal.
St. John's corner kick.
And it'll be Jared Julo to take it with the left foot. So first time we've seen this tonight. But Matt Forster was subbed out moments ago. And this one to the near post. And it's going to be off of St. John's. And DePaul will make another sub as Mark Plotkin is going to bring on one of his utility guys. Here's sophomore Patrick Watkins of Silver Spring, Maryland. He's their backup center mid as Matt Brickman exits. They like his work ethic. Plays late in first halves, some second halves. Started 11 games last year. Very versatile is Patrick Watkins. And he was just the second commit to Mark Plotkin when he got the job in January of 2018. And what he calls the dream job to coach his alma mater. Jacob Cito there. And Cito, an Australian, transfer from Coastal Carolina. However, that ball crossed the sideline. Shots are now 6-1 St. John's. Lai and Cito. That's right in front of John McCloskey. As he blew the whistle, could not hear it from up here. But it is St. John's ball. Calipari, the breakup to the feet of Attila Ashrafi. Julo carries in with a nice move. Julo then firing right at Nelly. Not much of an angle, but with each passing game, Jared Julo continues to show how much his confidence has grown. And playing a lot of high-level soccer, being the captain of the Red Bulls Academy, played and started 49 games at their U18, U19 level over the course of 2 years. So those are all borderline MLS players, and everybody a high-level Division I player. So in some ways, Julo, once he got certainly a hang of the system, and he has flourished. This is Richards as he looked to send in Jake Feuderer. Watkins. Richards, and he sees Chandler win that head ball. Anderson as he battles with Lai. And Bustamante.
This is the last
And the Red Storm will play it back to Hoffelner.
Yo, Drew, tuck in, tuck in.
Hoffelner's been credited with 1 save. Luka Gavrin scheduled to play the second half again as the Red Storm continue to go with a 2-goalie system. And it's worked as they are 12-2-1, having allowed just 9 goals. Their .577 goals against is 8th in the country. And Hoffelner got a chance to chat with St. John's assistant coach Flo Liu, who played at UConn, about the recruiting process. He knew Jan Hoffelner through his agent, as Flo had played professionally in Germany, and his agent had said, look out for this kid someday, when Jan was a 15 or 16-year-old. And years later, Lou had reconnected with him and looked at the numbers that Hoffelner has put up with that .66 goals against. Has not been too busy with just 25 saves. Spent his freshman year at Iowa Western, JC, last year at Presbyterian, and now helping St. John's be a top 10 program. So Hoffelner does his job. Oluwaseyi did his in the 36th minute. His team leading and Big East leading 10th goal on senior night is the difference. It's 1-0 St. John's in Queens. We'll be back with more, including first half highlights, and we'll hear from John Fanta and Megan Caffrey as part of our Big East Fall Sports Report. That's all on the way on the Big East Digital Network, presented by SoFi.
What does it mean for you, for me, for all of us, of the deeper meaning behind the work that we'll do in the community today?
Someone who has a college education will have a better life.
There's a lot that happens in those 4 years as they grow and discover what they want to do with their lives.
A Vincentian education builds students academically, socially, spiritually.
It is an experience that makes you a new form of you that you've never seen before.
It becoming my whole life and it becoming such a huge part of who I am.
You're able to grow into a person that I didn't know I could without that service.
It will help to remind us what's important and how we are committed to serving our community.
Having a Vincentian education has changed my entire worldview.
It gives them a solid foundation for a good life.
St. John's University, Niagara University, they're Vincentian schools. They're schools that offer opportunity.
And a higher education gives you all the tools you need to really grow and prepare you for life.
It's based in Catholic teaching and based on the work of St. Vincent de Paul, and it's really a call to action and service.
Service for the Vincentians is not a project, it's a way of life, and we integrate it into who they are.
It's a different type of knowledge than actually knowing the lived experience of people who are poor.
People are human and deserve that connection. That's where the Vincentian charism goes beyond.
It's like you wear certain glasses and you see the world through Vincentian eyes. There's a whole different value system.
Love, respect, service, excellence, and truth.
We want that Vincentian spirit in all of our students.
We know that there's a lot of problems in society today, and many of you will be that sign of hope.
We have a responsibility to take that Vincentian mission and go out and make a difference in the lives of the poor.
All universities do community service, but we do it from the lens of a faith-based community.
And we have a need and a desire to serve people who are marginalized, who are poor.
And that could just be having the students volunteer at different places as part of their class.
Students start to begin challenging their assumptions about how they could serve as a vehicle for positive social change.
It's efficient and effective.
It's very empowering for these students.
The fact that we had to go back and reflect on what we did was something that really resonated with me.
I started to take a step back from just giving out a sandwich and asking myself, why are these people in this situation?
It's developing our students to look more at the economy as a system of humans, a level much deeper than just looking at the statistics.
It's not about just being charitable, it's about a justice.
Charity is a handout, justice is a hand up.
And by the time they graduate, it's so much a part of their foundation and fabric.
It's amazing to see yourself change in such a short amount of time when you incorporate what you do at service into your everyday life.
They're going to use their life to positively impact the lives of others.
The things that we do for others, that's what sets us apart.
And it opened my eyes to the fact that everyone has something to offer, and you just have to be able to be that person that opens that up in other people.
When my time came to stop coaching, I was very fortunate that I didn't have to go cold turkey. I was able to start the Big East Conference, and we came across the sky like a meteor.
One recruiting year that they had that really turned everything around was the Ewan-Mullen Pinckney recruiting year. It changed the face of Eastern basketball probably forever.
We just believed in ourselves and a lot of hard work on everybody's part.
Every March, Madison Square Garden is home to everything that is college basketball.
Put on your red shoes and dance the blues.
What? How's the weather? Yeah. It's snowing out. It's a blizzard, but we ain't gonna stop.
Rightly, there were questions early on about whether the Big East could withstand the test of reconfiguration, and I think if you were here, we've done that and more.
It's a monster league now. Last man standing, bring the flag. Tough to coach in, but great for spectators and great to play in. The march of the Big East goes on.
One of the positives about the sports business in the last couple of years, and in recent years in particular, has been the growing interest in seeing our industry become a more diverse and inclusive place.
I find it important for us to amplify the voices of those who have not traditionally had a seat at the table. As a Black African woman, my various social identities are always at the forefront of my daily interactions, from my first name, my culture, to where I'm from. So for me, diversity is about us celebrating our uniqueness as a society.
A lot of what happens in terms of diversifying workforce in the college world happens at the campus level. That's really where the core hiring takes place. The schools are responsible for hiring their directors of athletics, their staffs, their coaches. And so the conference is really a step away from that activity, but I think conferences can and should set a tone. And so in the Big East, we have tried to make diversity and inclusion a conference strategic priority. We have, for example, within our conference SAC group, designated a diversity and inclusion officer. D&I has become an important topic of discussion at SAC meetings. And our D&I officer is now included into the conference-wide diversity and inclusion working group that we've created.
I currently serve as the conference's Student Athlete Advisory Committee's Diversity and Inclusion Officer. This position is charged with ensuring that the conference carries out its commitment to inclusion for all. And I assist the conference staff in creating opportunities for student athletes from different backgrounds to come together to share and exchange ideas. I also work closely with the Big East Diversity and Inclusion Working Group.
You know, when I think about diversity, I think about the fact that diversity is a fact. When we think about inclusion, we think about inclusion being a choice. And I think if we can succeed in anything at the Big East is to impress upon everyone how inclusion isn't just a choice but a responsibility.
The Big East is committed to continuing the development of programs and initiatives that support diverse and inclusive environments for our student athletes, coaches, staff, and communities.
Well, this is the halftime situation here with the little guys playing. But then when the big guys take the field, it's 1-0, number 8 St. John's leading DePaul, Senior Night 2019 here in Queens. Ralph Bednarczyk back with you on the Big East Digital Network as we look at our first half highlights. It would take St. John's to the 36th minute to break through, but they controlled possession as expected. Before that, DePaul's style has been to put 9 to 10 players behind the ball. St. John's was able to generate some early corners. They'd have make it 5 corner kicks in the first half. A lot of services here from Brendan Duarte. He had about 4 of them that would just probe outside the 6. There's Max DeBronia here winning that head ball. And St. John's would consistently find some room along that right flank. Skage Simonson penetrating ball again. That Duarte again would put another ball into the mixer, and some kind of half chances for St. John's. That one did seem to go off the near post, but did not get a St. John's bounce on it. And the Red Storm would continue to probe and move the ball side to side, but then Skage Simonson would be the center of it all. He'd find Brandon Knapp here. And then once again, Duarte. And Duarte was very much involved. And then a follow-up chance could not be settled there by Jared Julo. So DePaul did a very good job of bending but not breaking. They were outshot 7-1 in the opening half, and here's one real chance off of a deep restart that DePaul must capitalize on any of these opportunities they get and be dangerous. Jan Hoffelner would handle. And then finally the goal. Skage Simonson, look at this elevated pass to the feet at the 6. Of Tani Oluwaseyi. He was able to outmuscle Britton Calipari for it, and that little nudge off Calipari, and then being in so deep, Oluwaseyi is able to roof the ball from such tight proximity. And watch the physical battle here with Oluwaseyi and Calipari there. Calipari maybe a little just pushed off the ball. Oluwaseyi maybe has 20 pounds on him, and that would be Oluwaseyi's Big East leading 10th goal of the season. A minute later, look at the chance by Brandon Knapp. That head ball, he was unmarked just across the far post, but it would remain 1-0 St. John's at the half. 7-1 of the shots, 3 saves in goal by Drew Nelly of the DePaul Blue Demons, and DePaul, as we see this nice meg through by Jared Julo late. But DePaul, with 6 points in the Big East, likely needs 4 points, if not a full 6, in their last 2 games. They need a huge second half. And here's our halftime numbers. And the corner kicks by St. John's, 5 of them, they were dangerous in their last couple, and otherwise a very clean game. 1-0 St. John's, the number 8 team in the country, looking to sew up the 2 seed for the upcoming Big East tournament and a bye into the Big East tournament semifinals, and continue to push for a national top 4 seed, which would mean a chance to host potentially 2 NCAA tournament games before the College Cup. 1-0 Red Storm over the Blue Demons. We'll be back with second half action on the Big East Digital Network.
St. John's University is New York, through and through. While our roots may be here in the city, our Catholic and Vincentian influence is felt around the globe. Diverse, determined, and dedicated, our students graduate career-ready and primed to take on the challenges of tomorrow. We are New York's team. We are St. John's. St. John's University is New York, through and through. While our roots may be here in the city, our Catholic and Vincentian influence is felt around the globe. Diverse, determined, and dedicated, our students graduate career-ready and primed to take on the challenges of tomorrow. We are New York's team. We are St. John's.
Here, we do what others don't.
Dream what others won't. Driven to leap forward, determined to always give back.
Here, we work where giants have played, where the connection of work and ethic is made.
A diverse community possessed with a passion
to know and grow and go and show the world we are prepared to change it. Here, we ask what must be done, for in doing we learn and earn success.
And you can get there from here.
DePaul University. Here we do.
It's time to fuel your ambitions by taking charge of your student debt. At SoFi, we've helped over 250,000 people refinance their student loans, saving thousands of dollars. Now you can pay off your student loans faster and reach your goals sooner. See how much you can save in just 2 minutes at SoFi.com/save.
You're not going to want to miss this.
Second half about to begin, and St. John's continues with their recipe for success. 2-goalie system. Here's 6'6" redshirt freshman Luca Gavrin of Hamilton, Ontario. He's played the second half at all but 1 game this season. The Butler game that he missed, just 5 goals allowed, a .66 goals against. He's only had to make 25 saves. And for Luca, he was a forward until the age of 13 before being converted into a goalie. Was also a volleyball player growing up, so he brings a different kind of athletic explosiveness to Jan Hoffelner. With the second half underway, Ralph Bednarczyk back with you on the Big East Digital Network. Men's soccer, penultimate game across the conference today. 2 games are already final, including Providence shocking Xavier on the road in Cincinnati, 2-1, getting 2 goals in the final 9 minutes of regulation to stun the Musketeers, who had a 1-0 lead for a long while of that game today. And then Georgetown capturing a regular season title, defeating Villanova. There's a ball to the short side. Skage Simonsen got the touch off of DePaul, and it'll be another St. John's corner. So it'll be Jared Julo again on the service. So for the Blue Demons, again, they had to get, you figure, a minimum, an absolute minimum of 4 points in their last 2 games, but 6 would certainly get the job done. And they need goals, plural, in the second half. And here's a ball served across and punched in. The head ball here on senior night for Brandon Duarte. Perfect service from Julo. Hugs from friends and family who were here for the senior night ceremonies. Brandon Duarte, he gets his second of the year. Duarte, a senior from Ontario. Look at this great ball served across the face of goal. Nelly did not have an opportunity. And Duarte, if the ball is anywhere on frame, it's a goal, and it was. So St. John's gets another one here in the 47th minute. And then the long dash to find his family. Third of the career in a St. John's uni for Duarte. A former junior college second-team All-American that had attended Canada's U20 national team ID camp. But his parents, who were born in Portugal, both emphasized soccer to him. And Ancilla Junior College in Donaldson, Indiana. And a team that reached, during his sophomore year, a Division I junior college national semifinal. And DePaul in trouble. So the Blue Demons in a huge second half, but Brandon Duarte, his second of the season, third of his St. John's career. And how fitting and perfect this story writes for him. Duarte had an assist in the Red Storm's last game, a tie at Seton Hall. And it was Duarte who was as active as anybody in the field in the first half, with several services, a good 4 to 5 into the box that were dangerous. Then, as we showed you the first half highlights, it was hard to have any highlights that didn't include Duarte. So Gavrin sends down. And Einar Lai to recover for Oluwaseyi. Simonsen, space for Julo. So Dave Mazur of St. John's is going to keep Oluwaseyi here to begin the second half. St. John's has only made 1 sub at this juncture. They've been playing a lot more numbers through the month of September. As Cito looked to connect inside with Jack Richards. Bustamante. And here is where DePaul especially misses their arguably best attacking options in Isaac Frent. And Frent, in his 2 years after transferring from Indiana, he has been marred with injuries. Last year was a broken clavicle. September 2nd, the game against LMU. This year, September 17th, a torn PCL for Isaac Frent. And Mark Plotkin telling me last year he expected Frent to be a terror in the Big East with his ability to create. Well, here's a rare DePaul restart. But Duarte is able to break the play up. And the Blue Demons maybe just lost a little composure there. And that has usually been their ticket for success, to wait for a restart. Ball ahead, Nelly in a collision with Lai, and John McCloskey blows the whistle. What's he gonna call here? It is gonna be a yellow only against Drew Nelly. Lai was expecting maybe a little bit more, and Nelly bordering the edge of the 18, so much to take into account there.
At 49-31.
It appears that Lai is going to be okay after the collision. What a good ball served by Simonson. The ball dipped at the last moment, and that put Nelly into an impossible situation where he had to make some contact because he wasn't going to be able to reach the ball. Now let's have a better look here. Or rather, that's Julo with the ball, with that service. Unclear based off the replay if Nelly did touch the ball first, but here's the restart. It's Lai, the opportunity blocked by Cito. Second ball, Simonson, and he was able to put it through, but recovering in time is Nelly. So good looks by St. John's. Jacob Cito, though, took the punishment on the first one. Cito, a 5'8" sophomore from Australia. And Mark Plotkin describes him as a bundle of energy and a dynamic player. Played a bit, or at least got a chance to practice consistently with Coastal Carolina, but sat out last year, so DePaul's going to get 4 full years of eligibility from Cito. And John McCloskey is now going to adjust the clock here. So to 39:52 is what he's asking. St. John's, in their last game at Seton Hall, as I touched on in the first half, 11 yellow cards were issued. In a game that's an old-time Big East rivalry last Saturday. You could expect that from St. John's and Seton Hall over the years, but a chunk of which happened in the second half, and it just ballooned and mushroomed from there in a game that ended up in a 1-all tie. St. John's has one player with 4 yellow cards, so it's something for coaches now to consider. 5th is an automatic sit-out for the next game. So Knapp ahead for Oluwaseyi. Lai got the layoff from Simonson. And backside run, but that ball is out of the reach there of Drew Rosen, and St. John's will get themselves yet another corner. So a chance for Jared Julo. Have another look. But Rosen making the best of these opportunities. Julo, by the way, was credited with an assist on the Red Storm's first goal of the night. So now Julo has his first career multi-point game. Another good ball serviced in. It's out of the box. Ashrafi fires! That's inside of the crossbar. Follow up to Ashrafi again towards goal. Oh, that was a rocket that caromed out. Attila Ashrafi, the freshman from Cologne, Germany, almost had his third. Ashrafi hit it very well. There is no replay in Big East soccer. And St. John's on the ensuing corner kick. And Julo will go back to Gavrin. We get another look at this blast. Look at Ashrafi, and that's through the jumping defender.
Behind you!
And great look at that strike, but just the way it caromed out, certainly it stayed out. So there is DeBronia, as now DePaul has to really get desperate. DeBronia could be a target here on any ball served into the box. And this is a shot by Iskra, that's in! And DePaul has gotten one back. It's actually Jake Feuderer, edge of the box, and he is able to keep it low and beat Gavrin. And it's 2-1. Perhaps Gavrin did not see it immediately, and Jake Feuderer adds his 4th of the season. He was given a lot of room. Most of the year had played left midfield, now starting at center midfield.
Yo, Jerry, come on, we get another one, let's go.
Got into a strong right foot. And Mark Plotkin says he's our best finisher, our most creative finisher. As we see a replay, not a lot of fancy moves here. Able to get past one defender. And that's a good rip from 23 yards. And tucking it to the near post inside of Gavrin. So good look at that by our crew. And Jake Feuderer gets DePaul right back. So DePaul scores less than 6 minutes after Duarte had made it 2-0. For St. John's, just their 10th goal allowed this season. So that matches the program record of 10 goals allowed for the entire 2002 year. St. John's, for a while, it appeared like it could be a record-setting season in terms of fewest goals allowed before the Hoyas came here last week and scored 3. Room again for Timmy Iskra. Anderson looked for the follow-up and beaten to it by Ashrafi. Shots are 12-2 Red Storm. But DePaul playing for their tournament lives. Lai. Einar Lai given the room, plays it across. This one could not get through to Nelly. Julo follow-up, and that's knocked down by Cito. St. John's in the crowd asking for a potential handball. Bustamante continues the run. Rafael Bustamante a ball. That to the short side. May have also caught some pipe. And St. John's with Oluwaseyi in a dangerous ball. Goal line extended, floated across. Lai back in the mixer looking for Ashrafi. And finally, the Blue Demons on their heels can exhale for a moment and get a clearance.
I know.
Was scored by number 7.
Knapp, the connection with Oluwaseyi.
Assist by number 15, Sakalavovic. Time of the goal was 52 minutes, 11 seconds.
Ball in the air for Oluwaseyi, handled by the right back, Danny Iskra. Lai trying to play through Julo. John McCloskey calls the foul, and it's going to be a PK for St. John's. Cito is going to be the guilty party as Julo had inside position. And Cito knows it. Cito was a half step behind Julo, and Julo had him sealed on his hip. So the Red Storm will have to choose someone on the PK. As we see the good thought here from Ashrafi to slip through Julo. It is going to be Einar Lai on the penalty kick and the easy finish. Lai, the sophomore from Norway, gives St. John's a 2-goal lead again, his 5th of the year. A composed finish makes it 3-1. For St. John's, their first PK conversion of the season. Well, Lai had his approach down the second he heard the whistle.
Let's go, Einar!
And Nelly Guessing went to the right. And Lai had his plan all mapped out. So a very eventful opening 10 minutes of the second half has seen 3 goals scored. And DePaul is going to get another good chance at a restart. So 5 for Einar Lai.
St. John's goal was scored by number 7.
Lai talked about his comfortability in joining the Red Storm program, knowing Skage Simonsen. That was helpful. All the international players, like many seasons under Dave Mazur, they feel very welcome because, well, everybody comes from different places. They're all going for the same goal. That ball played in by Feuderer, and St. John's defends it well. And here's Olowasheyi in the counter. Danny Iskra will turn him back. Lai. Olowasheyi as he loses the control. So the rest of this one, a big moment for Tani Olowasheyi to see how much of a leash he'll have in terms of fitness and minutes played from Dave Mazur. And still at this juncture, 55 plus minutes in, St. John's has only made one sub, so certainly the impact of the Nico Petridis sit out tonight, not being available, and also injuries that he had suffered against Creighton now 2.5 weeks ago. So that's a real impact, as well as how well the starters have played. Dave Mazur has started to pare down his rotation. Last game it was sophomore Josiah Crawford that started at Seton Hall, so we could see him at some point. Room for Feuderer. And Feuderer connected past Richards. Jack Richards still looking for his first goal of the season, but he's dispossessed there by Rosen. Feuderer the layoff for Richards. Ball back across, and DeBronia. Ball and played read well by Bustamante. So DePaul has pushed DeBronia forward, one of their captains, as here is DeBronia, who started the match as the true center back in a 3-5-2. As the Blue Demons need their best target player to be in more attacking areas. There is DeBronia, and tried to play it off of his chest to his feet. So as we near the half-hour mark, Mark Plotkin has already made some changes and showing the signs of urgency. This is Sasha Labovich, who has moved back to play a right back spot after starting the match at a left midfield spot. So Danny Iskra now is the center back. Rosen, nice layoff, Simonsen. One more ball, Duarte. Looking for another, Duarte, and it's stopped by Nelly. A lot of options there for Brandon Duarte. And Simonsen on great alert. Great entry from the Red Storm to generate yet another corner.
By Jared Giroux.
And Nelly was able to come out to the top of the 6 and make himself big. Julo, service, and that ball by Knapp right into the hands of Nelly. So 6 saves by Drew Nelly tonight. And Richards with a nice check back. And the Blue Demons ahead.
Turn.
Danny Iskra. And it is Labovich, who was a starting center back the last 2 years, but Sasha Labovich, a senior from Schuylerville, Indiana, has had injuries all season And that has set him back. At a harsh injury at the end of last year, has never really recovered. So they've moved him around in different spots in the utility role. Jake Feuderer has been on the ball a lot more. Sophomore from Glenview, Illinois. Cito the return to Feuderer. Feuderer service. Gavra stays in, and there was DeBronia in position for the head ball. And they're going to go award a goal kick there. So DeBronia, again at 6'5" with strength. Plan is to go back home to Amsterdam coming up in December to pursue his master's in business analytics. He's about to graduate with a degree in mathematical sciences. And DeBronia very much will be missed in this program, but was a team captain for AFC Amsterdam, which is in the second division, or the highest amateur division of the Netherlands, and was a great pickup for former DePaul coach Craig Blazer. Here's Duarte. Ashrafi. DePaul has brought on freshman forward Joe McGee for the first time. He is from the San Antonio area, born Texas, but he played for the Dallas Texans Academy.
Lock it down, Chan. Lock it down, baby.
And McGee comes on just to bring a lot of energy and pace, something the Blue Demons really need, and that is Simonson, as his cross is off of Anderson, and it'll be another Red Storm corner.
Deflected by Michael Anderson. St. John's corner kick.
Well, after the first couple,
taken by Honor Lodge.
The last 7 or so corners for St. John's have been threatening. This will be Lai, and does not meet the first man. Bustamante, layoff for Lai. And DePaul will give up a deep throw. Bustamante winning the left back spot early in the season. Played a good chunk of last year and his freshman year in a reserve outside right midfield role or right back. Simonson. And we're going to get a foul against DePaul. So Simonson, with such size and strength at about 6'2", 200 pounds. And look at the spot for the free kick. And it's going to be Lai to take it. And DePaul wondering, do they put more up on a wall? They're going to leave just one. That was Richards. That ball right at Nelly. St. John's did not appear to be ready upon the kick by Lai. There was nobody flashing in front of the face of Nelly. Simonson, nice back heel all along for Lai, as this one will become another corner. What a pretty back heel from Skage Simonson.
Ball down by Max DeBronia. St. John's corner kick, taken by Lai.
So St. John's now with their 12th corner. As St. John's played it short. Drew Rosen. And Rosen dispossessed. Anderson. Feuderer. As he tried to lead DeBronia. Shots are now 17-2 St. John's. And DePaul has had a couple of games like this year, but they were able to bend but not break against Notre Dame until the final seconds of that one, being outshot 18-2. And then the scoreless tie against Georgetown, 24-2 were the shots in that one.
DePaul substitution down to the match number 28.
DePaul will bring on another freshman, McKay Drong. Will come on
number 26, Jack Richards.
For Jack Richards as the forward up top, developing player from St. Cloud, Minnesota. Drong is interesting, coming up through the Minnesota Twin Stars program, and in this day and age of Division I men's college soccer, he's a rare non-academy player, but something Mark Plotkin has prioritized to have in the recruiting process. McGee, that one played across where Gavrin got a good look at it. But there have been a number of coaches that have told me that aspect, that the entire U.S. soccer system has become or slanted so much towards the academy system where they're no longer playing high school soccer. And even some of the non-academy teams that don't have that certification can get ignored. But there are good players of those programs too, and the Minnesota's Twin Stars program is one of them. And Mark Plotkin feels that they just come in with a certain grit. They come in perhaps understanding how to play soccer a little bit differently, with a certain physicality, and they have to earn everything you get. This is Oluwaseyi. That one surprised Nelly. It stayed out, but the rebound is put in. Drew Rosen. Drew Rosen gets his first career goal after Oluwaseyi stunned Nelly with a rocket. 4-1 St. John's. Drew Rosen had to be clinical on that rebound. But what a bit of skill from Oluwaseyi to get a quality rip off. And Nelly perhaps caught a little bit flat-footed, and it left a very juicy rebound for the St. John's sophomore from Manhattan, who attended unknown soccer power Winston Prep. But he commuted to the Met Oval Academy in Queens, where he played his high school soccer just minutes away from the St. John's campus. Drew Rosen last year played in 11 games, made one start against Princeton. And St. John's has a spectacular fourth goal.
The St. John's goal. He's first of the season, number 11.
So Rosen scoring in the 67th minute. Tani Oluwaseyi will get an assist.
By number 14, Tani Oluwaseyi. Time of the goal, 66 minutes, 5 seconds. Red Storm goal.
What a bit of skill. It's not often where you're talking about a saved shot as being the most spectacular part of a play, but that's what it was. Ball played in for McGee, had to be handled by St. John's. Follow-up opportunity, and this is Gavrin. And Gavrin had been on his heels, fading away on the shot was Youssef Ramadan. Ramadan, the starting center forward, that's had his position moved around this year from holding mid with the injuries to David Gripman and Isaac Friend. And the injured Zach El Shafai. 4-1 St. John's. And for the Blue Demons, should the score hold up, they'll be sitting with 6 points. Only Villanova at the start of the day was, you could say, really eliminated. Though if the Wildcats, if they had upended Georgetown today, still had a chance to get up to 10 points. And then with some tiebreakers, perhaps the 10 points could have been enough for the 6th spot. But Villanova officially eliminated earlier today. Butler is playing at Creighton tonight, and so is Seton Hall at Marquette. But DePaul had to get at least 1 point here to have some mathematical possibility to qualify for the Big East tournament for their regular season finale. DePaul will close out their season at home on Wednesday against Marquette. Oluwaseyi, Simonson, Rosen, and to the feet of Lai. And Bronya with a ball for Futerer.
Your attention, please, ladies and gentlemen. John Shea. Please report to the front. John Shea.
Get a substitute for St. John's. Drew Rosen exits. And it's going to be Matt Forster that returns.
St. John's substitution back into the match.
Still into the 70th minute. Dave Mazur has kept his bench very tight tonight, only one sub. And it's Forster that comes in at right midfield. There he is. So perhaps with the idea in mind of starting to stretch his starters in terms of fitness, with St. John's clearly having the number 3 RPI and sitting on this 4-1 lead, they're going to be in the NCAA tournament even if they lose their next two, the regular season finale and then that Big East semifinal. So they know they're going to play at least one NCAA tournament game. Toss in for Simonson. And that's Duarte. Deep throw coming for St. John's. And when I asked Dave Mazur, still his team's area of improvement, number one, he could still be tougher in the box in the offensive end. And those kind of grit goals when the weather gets even worse than what we have here tonight. Ball played in the box, Simonson, and trying to play it back out for Forster. Still feels they can defend harder in the midfield to turn people over and prevent build-up opportunities. Those kinds of little things against high-quality competition. Back heel by Simonson. Ashrafi to the feet of Oluwaseyi to a strong left foot. And he got a good rip-off. No touch from Danny Iskra. And what a connection that Simonson and Oluwaseyi have developed this year. Speaking of bad weather, the Blue Demons did not practice yesterday on Friday, but they arrived here with no delay. That's because Chicago, and of course their changing weather patterns, the fall has been very brief. They had 3 inches of snow yesterday in Chicago.
Turn.
The DePaul women's soccer game was moved from Friday to Thursday in anticipation of the snow. But thankfully the Blue Demons were able to get here with no delays out of O'Hare Airport. Forster, and then the shot, and Nelly is able to lead and handle it cleanly. Well, that might be the last thing to make this one a perfect night for the Red Storm, to see Matt Forster get a tally. And Forster, the lone scholarship senior in this class that was honored before the game.
Work, Kenny, come on.
2 other redshirt juniors that were in his class. This is Gavrin. Other players honored, such as redshirt junior Dimitri Mendrinos, who's going to graduate and likely move on to law school, East Northport, Long Island product. Another redshirt junior, David Target of Dix Hills, New York. They were still in that same class, but coming to St. John's as walk-ons. Feuderer a ball, and Gavrin able to snare it.
Ball substitution, back into number 26, Jack Richards. Placing number 8, Yusuf Rahman.
Simonson, he's played every minute. Ball for Lai, and Iskra has no choice but to give St. John's yet another corner.
Cleared by Tim Iskra.
So that is number 12.
Taken by Mac Forsberg.
Your turn, Chad!
Simonson now with his hands on his head. And this is Coach Dave Mazur understanding that he is challenging his starters from a fitness level. And not trying to run up the score in any way and keeping his starters out there. He has plenty of people to turn to on the bench. But he is starting to think about NCAA tournament level fitness and stamina. And with St. John's having now the bye into the semifinals in their back pocket, so they're going to get days off anyway. St. John's next game after Wednesday the 6th won't be until another week right here at Bellston Stadium on Wednesday the 13th. St. John's will make it to the sub. Here is Tiago Teixeira coming on, replacing Jared Julo. Teixeira, a sophomore from Portugal.
And he replaces number 2, Jared Julo.
Started 13 games out of 15 last year. And that's the starting outside back before the emergence of Bustamante. Feuderer, and that ball just tailed away and an easy play for Bustamante to make. Follow up from Ashrafi. St. John's with Simonson. Floats a ball for Teixeira. And Tiago engaged there with McGee of DePaul. DePaul was able to cut it to a 2-1 game just 7 minutes into the first half on a great goal by Jake Feuderer as he beats Luka Gavrin. But then after that, St. John's didn't let it bother them. They just kind of flicked it off their shoulder as if it was a fly as they attacked on the very next possession on a ball from Attila Ashrafi for Jared Julo. Into the box. Julo was fouled by Jacob Cito. That led to a St. John's penalty kick that Einar Lai promptly finished. And that made it 3-1 St. John's with 54 minutes into the 55th minute. And then Drew Rosen's goal off of the incredible rocket that was stopped by Nelly off the foot of Tani Olawashayi in the 67th minute. Rosen was able to put in the rebound, and that's been all she wrote. At 12 and a half left as DePaul sets up for its second corner of the match. Timmy Iskra out wide for Feuderer. Ashrafi to knock it down. Follow up from McGee. Good ball laid out wide. Timmy Iskra shot. This is off the body of a St. John's player, and it's in. It'll be off of Chandler, and it's 4-2. So the Blue Demons not thinking about the future just yet. And it was Danny Iskra. No other touch. It is off of Chandler. So Danny Iskra, the freshman, gets his first career goal.
Move it, move it, move it.
Now, Mark Plotkin has loved how good of a one-on-one defender he has been. He's going to have a heck of a career. And greatly improved his ability on the ball. And during the recruiting process, Mark Plotkin saw something special in Danny Iskra, along with the family connection to join his brother Timmy. And for Dan Iskra, that is just a hard-working first goal of the season and his career. And how about this? Timmy Iskra, his older brother, is going to be credited with the assist on Danny's goal. So that is something they'll be able to talk about for decades into the future. So the goal comes in the 79th minute. And DePaul still with some time. But they'll need to defend this St. John's restart. And this one off of Richards, and it'll be the Red Storm on their 14th corner kick. As St. John's had played it short, Forster.
The DePaul goal was scored by number 4, Danny Iskra.
They've added a second assist to Jack Richards.
By number 26, Jack Richards. And number 16, Timothy Iskra. Time of the goal, 78 minutes, 11 seconds. Blue Demons goal scored by 4, Dan Iskra, assisted by 26, Jack Richards, and 16, Tim Iskra, at 78-11.
Luka. Easy, Luka, easy.
For Dan Iskra, that's goal number 1.
Run it, bro. Run it, bro.
Offside St. John's.
Not a chance. Not a chance. That's a terrible call. Yo, Tanny, keep that going, baby. Come on. 10 minutes.
Bro, they're just guessing all the calls, man.
Yo, now run, now run, now run. Now run again. Yo, keep working, baby. Come on.
Sasha Labovich.
Come on, Chad. Come on, Ina, don't stop working, baby. Come on.
Joe McGee.
There you go. Turn.
Underline. Attila Ashraka.
Buena, Thiago.
Jamashev.
Man! You got time. Run him, Ina, run him. There you go! In!
by Tanya Loache. Say Dunelli. DePaul substitution, returning to the match number 8, Yusuf Ramadan. And he replaces number 13, Joe Medina.
Man, Musa! Déjale. All right, Chad!
Passed it out by Dan Iskra, St. John's corner kick. St. John's substitution, now into the match. Number 21, Ethan Shaw. And he replaces number 15, Matt Forster. Drew Nemeth.
Finish strong!
Max De Bruyne. Michael Anderson.
Yo, Tanny, drop for Attila!
Sasha Labovich. Heinerlein. Dr. Simonson.
Stay outside, stay outside!
Come on, move! Hey, get back!
Work, Scuggin, work! Fucking forward! Mouth.
I think they have the same kind of uniform. Yeah. Inside out.
Labovich.
Keep working, boys. Keep working, boys.
Let's go, St. John. Let's go.
Yusuf Ramadan.
Lino, we got a man down. Yo, Tanny, go down if you need, bro. Go down.
Stop to the ball! Yeah. Hey!
Ramadan.
Tell me.
Come on, Lino, work back, Lino.
This is the last minute of play in regulation. 1 minute. A shot by Timmy is correct. Timmy is correct.
Get up, Napo.
Here you go. Imagine they score.
Go! 10 seconds. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
When my time came to stop coaching, I was very fortunate that I didn't have to go cold turkey. I was able to start the Big East Conference, and we came across the sky like a meteor.
One recruiting year that they had that really turned everything around was the Ewan Mullen Pinckney recruiting year. It changed the face of Eastern basketball probably forever.
We just believed in ourselves and a lot of hard work on everybody's part.
Every March, Madison Square Garden is home to everything that is college basketball.
Yeah, it's snowing out. It's a blizzard, but we ain't gonna stop.
Rightly, there were questions early on about whether the Big East could withstand the test of reconfiguration, and I think if you were here, we've done that and more.
It's a monster league now. Last man standing, bring the flag. Tough to coach in, but great for spectators and great to play in. The march of the Big East goes on.
One of the positives about the sports business in the last couple of years, and in recent years in particular, has been the growing interest in seeing our industry become a more diverse and inclusive place.
I find it important for us to amplify the voices of those who have not traditionally had a seat at the table. As a Black African woman, my various social identities are always at the forefront of my daily interactions, from my first name, my culture, to where I'm from. So for me, diversity is about us celebrating our uniqueness as a society.
A lot of what happens in terms of diversifying workforce in the college world happens at the campus level. That's really where the core hiring takes place. The schools are responsible for hiring their directors of athletics, their staffs, their coaches. And so the conference is really a step away from that activity, but I think conferences can and should set a tone. And so in the Big East, we have tried to make diversity and inclusion a conference strategic priority. We have, for example, within our conference SAC group, designated a diversity and inclusion officer. D&I has become an important topic of discussion at SAC meetings. And our D&I officer is now included into the conference-wide diversity and inclusion working group that we've created.
I currently serve as the conference's Student Athlete Advisory Committee's Diversity and Inclusion Officer. This position is charged with ensuring that the conference carries out its commitment to inclusion for all. And I assist the conference staff in creating opportunities for student athletes from different backgrounds to come together to share and exchange ideas. I also work closely with the Big East Diversity and Inclusion Working Group.
You know, when I think about diversity, I think about the fact that diversity is a fact. When we think about inclusion, we think about inclusion being a choice. And I think if we can succeed in anything at the Big East is to impress upon everyone how inclusion isn't just a choice but a responsibility.
The Big East is committed to continuing the development of programs and initiatives that support diverse and inclusive environments for our student athletes, coaches, staff, and communities.
And welcome back. It was a very happy senior night 2019 for St. John's as they improved to 13-2-1 of the season. A 4-2 win tonight over the DePaul Blue Demons, effectively ending the Blue Demons' chances to qualify for the Big East tournament. St. John's clinches the 2 seed for the upcoming Big East tournament. Next week, they'll play a semifinal here at Belson Stadium. So Ralph Bednarchuk welcoming you back. Brandon Duarte gets the second goal tonight for St. John's, second of his season, third of your career. Describe your terrific goal. You had a lot of services, but you found yourself on the end of a terrific ball from Jared Julo.
Well, I mean, it's just one of the corner kick plays that we ran where I just run off the back post. So Jared just whipped in like a beautiful ball and just fell to my head and went in the net.
You were one of 25 newcomers that joined the program last year. What has this journey been like a year later, a little over a year later, to take this team now to the top 10 where you have a chance to potentially host games to try to get to the College Cup?
Well, I mean, definitely a roller coaster. You know, we came in with about like 20 freshmen, so it was hard to build up the chemistry like early in the season. But then this year, we all just came together, and now we just have a lot of momentum going forward to the playoffs.
As you guys have continued to win, how have the goals perhaps changed and realized what this team and how deep this team can go? How has that changed?
Well, I mean, the coaches from the Big East, they ranked us as 7th from the start of the season, so it's kind of like right away just motivation for the guys to do better. And our main goal from the start was to just get the 1st or 2nd place. So now we're just accomplishing our goals like step by step, and we're just going to keep going forward.
How about for you to step into a Division I program like this? You know, you started a lot last year, but what's been the difference for you and to take your game even to another level with this team?
Honestly, just listening to the coach and just going over everything he says. I've been in maybe like 4 or 5 different positions since I got here, like center mid, right wing, right back. So I was listening to him and just getting the team all together.
You got it together in the head ball. Congratulations, Brandon, in the goal.
Thank you so much.
Brandon Duarte with the finish. St. John's 4-2 tonight over DePaul. They finish off their regular season at Belson Stadium 7-1, but they will play another game here Wednesday, November 13th in the Big East Tournament semifinals against an opponent to be determined. So that wraps it up here for our entire crew, including our producer and director, KJ Hammond. My name is Ralph Bnorchik saying so long and good night from chilly Queens. You've been watching Big East Soccer on the Big East Digital Network presented by SoFi. Thank you. Thank you so much.